Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Off Taco, and today we are back with another video, and draft season is here. The draft is 4 weeks from today, and every video from now on is going to be about the draft. And this is my mock draft. It is the first round. There are trades. Let's get into it. Starting off with the Chicago Bears at pick 1, I have them going Caleb Williams. This is obvious out of USC. He didn't have the greatest defense, and he honestly didn't win a ton, but you could just tell he has perfect arm talent, perfect accuracy. He's a really good prospect. It's pretty obvious Caleb Williams is the number 1 pick in the draft. Then the Commanders at 2, I have them picking Jaden Daniels. I think that Jaden Daniels is going to be picked over Drake May. I think the Commanders are going to go for more of the upside guy. And when you look at Jaden Daniels at LSU, I mean, he won the Heisman. He ran for 11 or 12 touchdowns. He threw for 35-ish touchdowns. He played amazing. He's such a big threat weapon and a guy that has upside to be a top 10 like QB in the NFL. Then with the 3rd pick, you go to New England, and they are going to pick up Drake May to be their franchise quarterback. Drake May didn't have a ton of success in college. His offensive line sucked. Really, supporting cast and everything sucked. But he played it out at North Carolina, which especially in an NIL type driven college economy, whatever, it's good to just play your career out in one place. Teams will like that. And also, he has quite a bit of talent. He can, move a little. He's fun. My screen just shut off. All right, we're back. Drake May, he's a great prospect. He'll be fine in New England. And hey, it's the Patriots. It's Boston. Sort of casual racist like Drake May makes some sense. Then you move on to the 4th pick, which is the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is an easy choice. They're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. There might be a want to trade back, but whenever you have a stud receiver for the next 5 years, you know you're getting a bona fide stud in Marvin Harrison. You have to take him where you are. You give Kyler Murray a number 1 target. It's going to be great in Arizona. With Marvin Harrison, they're going to build a good offensive core. And yeah, then you move on to the 5th pick, which is the Chargers. I have them taking Malik Neighbors out of LSU. Now, his route tree in LSU, things like that, they weren't exactly pro style. But when you look at him, he ran a 4.35 40. He's fast. He's athletic. He's great at everything. He does have a chance to step in and be an all-pro the way that Marvin Harrison has. In the Chargers, they need a number 1 weapon. They're definitely going to go out and get one. Then you have the Giants at 6. And I know that there's sort of an idea that a team will trade up and they will get Malik Neighbors in their lap. But because they don't, I have them taking Rome Odunze. It's sort of a reach, but still with the Giants, I don't think that you're just going to give up on Daniel Jones already, where if you cut him, you're killing about $30 million worth of cap. That's not good. So you're going to want a stud receiver. Give Daniel Jones a weapon. And Rome Odunze, he's a good guy, character guy. And also, he makes plays. He gets the ball, and he go far. Just a really good piece for the Giants. Then you have the Tennessee Titans at pick 7. They're going to pick Joe Alt, get a stud tackle. The Titans have really been building something. They got Calvin Ridley, got Tony Pollard to pair with Tajay Spears. They're building a good team around Will Levis. They're going to want another tackle, another piece to build that offense. And then, 2-3 years, offense might be scary if Levis works out, if Joe Alt is the way that people think. Then you go to pick 8, which is the Atlanta Falcons, and they are going to be taking Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner, he's my number 1 defensive player, number 1 defensive player taken off the board. He's a great prospect. He's lanky. He's physical coming out of Alabama. He gets sacks. He gets pressure. He's going to be good for Atlanta, who really hasn't had a pressure getter. I think the last double-digit sack guy they had was Vic Beasley. That's not good. They need a pressure getter on defense. I mean, that's the number one position in the league, especially whenever you have young quarterback in your division like Bryce Young. Then you move on to pick 9, and this is my first trade. I have Denver moving up with Chicago. I know it doesn't make a ton of sense, but the main goal is to get above Minnesota. And with the 9th pick, they are going to pick J.J. McCarthy. I get why some people don't like J.J. McCarthy. I really wasn't on the train until his pro day and until I just watched some more about him. He was not carried by his run game. He threw the ball. He threw the ball effectively when he needed to. He had some tight window throws that might have been interceptions in the league. But hey, he played really good, had a really nice pro day, has a ton of upside. A lot of teams believe in him, and that's why Denver is going to take him here and steal them from Minnesota. Then you have the Jets with the 10th pick. They're going to pick Brock Bowers, stud tight end. Now, this consensusly has been an offensive tackle for me, for a bunch of other people, until free agency. They got Tyron Smith. They got Morgan Moses. Yes, I would want you to get a young tackle, but I don't think that they will, and it's not like they exactly need a guard. I think that either their young tackle is going to wait a year, or their young tackle is going to wait a year. There wasn't an or. Or you could get a stud tight end right now for your team, a good weapon for Aaron Rodgers, who got some more weapons on that offense. He's going to be a stud. Brock Bowers, it's a good pick. Then you have Minnesota at 11, and they don't get what they want to in a quarterback, so they're going to trade back to 16 with the Seattle Seahawks, who will jump up to 11 and steal Olu Fashanu. Coming out of Penn State, one of the best run blockers, one of the best just physical talents at the draft. He was just a mauler there, and with Seattle, you need players like that. You always need players like that. He can slide into guard if you need to. He's going to be fine. Then at pick 12, you have Chicago still getting the guy that I would think that they would want. That is Jared Verse, the edge rusher out of FSU. Explosiveness is the best thing that I would talk about whenever I'm thinking about him. He's fast off the line. He's fast. He's good. He can get physical when he needs to get physical. And the Bears, Montez Sweat was a good pickup. I still think that you had like 18 or 19 sacks last year. That's really bad. You got to get that number up. You got to get another pass rusher. And that is what Jared Verse will do. Then you have the Raiders at 13, and they need a defense back. They have anyone that they want. And I think that they're going to pick Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. He seems like a stud quarter. He was from a small school, but, they played some schools. They played some schools in the Big Ten. He's done good in man coverage against some of these good receivers in the draft. He did good against Marvin Harrison. He's fast. He's just a good corner, and that's what the Raiders need. They don't specifically have a guy that I would put faith in. They've always tried and failed. Which, is just the Raiders in general. But then you have the Saints in number 14, and Talise Fuaga just falls right into their hands. Talise Fuaga is a great offensive tackle out of Oregon State. Sometimes you see he just mauls people, and that's a good thing. He just mauls some people. He's a physical beast. Saints are going to get him. They've also had problems just getting a tackle. Also seems like Ryan Ramczyk, there's a good chance that he just doesn't play this year. That's not a good thing. You need to get a guy like Talise Fuaga. Then you have the Colts at 15. I think they're going to go for a defensive back. They're going to get the second one in Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. It's very similar to Quinyon Mitchell. He's fast. He's aggressive. He's good. He played a lot more talent that's going to the NFL. Just being in the SEC, being with Bama, he played against a lot of good players and played pretty well. Yes, there was also Kool-Aid McKinstry on the other side, but one, you get two good corners, and two good receivers on other teams, and two, he's just a straight up beast. All right, there's nothing else that I really need to say about Terrion Arnold. He's a physical weapon, and teams are going to want him on their team and develop him into something really special. Then you have Laiatu Latu going to the Vikings at pick number 16. Whenever I think of him, I think of just straight. He's like a project. All right, straight raw athleticism is what I meant to say. He has straight raw athleticism. He can be good. He can have a ton of strength, ton of speed coming off the edge. He can be really good. He's somewhat of like a project, and some of them work. And with Minnesota, they're going to want another stud edge rusher. That's what they're going to hopefully get in Laiatu Latu. Then you have the Jags. I think that they need a defensive back. They're going to pick up Nate Wiggins. They're a fine team. Really almost anywhere except DB. They have Tyson Campbell, who's really good. I believe he's mostly in the slot. They lost Darius Williams. And hey, you just want to get a good young defense, build that defense back up again. You got a good D-line. Your linebackers are in, but there's not really a linebacker to draft here. You're going to get a good defensive back, and he is speedy. He got hurt at the combine, but did he run a 4.28? I feel like he did. Then you have Cincinnati at pick 18. They're going to pick J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama. To be honest, I don't know a ton about any of these offensive linemen down here. He's a good offensive lineman from what I know. If you're in Alabama, you're going up against a lot of SEC pass rushers. And if you're not getting embarrassed by these pass rushers, because if you did, your draft stock would fall, that means you're a pretty good offensive tackle. The Bengals need one. Lost Jonah Williams. Still don't have a ton of faith. And, Jackson Carman, Lale Collins, I believe, is gone. Yeah. Then you have the Rams, their first-round pick in forever. They're going to want somebody to replace Aaron Donald, and they're going to get Johnny Newton out of Illinois. Jerjon Newton was what he was called, what he used to be called. He's a stud on the inside. He used to be like a top 10, 12 draft pick. He sort of was going down, and he's going to come back up. He's going to be a good player for the Rams, who are losing Aaron Donald. And whenever you don't have a first-round pick in so long, you're going to just take the player that seems like it should be there, and that's Johnny Newton, and who knows, by the time this video's up, they might trade it because it's the Rams. There's no first-round pick is safe with the Los Angeles Rams. Then you move on to the Steelers at pick 20. I have them picking Jackson Powers Johnson, a prospect who has really been rising up draft boards, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see 16, 15, 14 at the time that the draft rolls around. He's a good center out of Oregon. A lot of teams need interior offensive linemen. That's just not something that's exactly in this draft, and it's good to get one. The Steelers need one. They're going to build up a young O-line. They have Broderick Jones. It's going to be a great piece of that offensive line out of Oregon. Then Miami at pick 21. They're also going to pick up an offensive tackle in Troy Fautanu. He protected for Michael Penix Jr. well enough. That's what I know about him. Apparently really big, really freaky. Then, Miami, they need an offensive lineman just to protect Tua in general. You're going to get that left-hand protection, whatever. Might change a little bit for something. Yeah. Then the Eagles at pick 22. You know what this pick is. If you watch me on the Eagles channel, go subscribe to the Eagles channel. It's Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yes, I know Cooper DeJean's on the board, but I've been set in on Kool-Aid McKinstry since about last December. Since about December 2022, I've wanted Kool-Aid McKinstry on the Philadelphia Eagles because his name is Kool-Aid. Why not? And we need a defensive back, especially this year. Don't know what's going on with Bradbury. I do have trust in somebody like Ringo, Ricks, people like that. But hey, it's good to get a corner whose name is freaking Kool-Aid. You have Minnesota at pick 23. They are going to pick up their quarterback in Michael Penix. I know that a lot of people think that the trade for 23 was more of a spot to then trade up to say pick 5, pick 6. I think that there's a shot that it's a fallback plan, No team between the Broncos and where pick 23 is going to want to get a quarterback. They're going to pick up Michael Penix. It's going to be a good pickup. Then at pick 24, you have the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to pick up Amarius Mims out of Georgia. It's basically the same thing that I said for J.C. Latham. If you're playing SEC pass rushers every week and not getting embarrassed, you're doing something right. Dallas, they're going to want more pieces to their O-line. They've been losing pieces. They're going to need to be gaining pieces, and that's something that Amarius Mims does. Then at pick 25, I have Green Bay trading with the Carolina Panthers, who just see a golden opportunity on the board to get Bryce Young a weapon. They pick Brian Thomas. They'll only be trading up from pick 33. It'll be fine. Brian Thomas is a stud weapon that you can get for Bryce Young. He's fast. He's electric. He's a good receiver. He'll fit Carolina fine. He's going to be good. Then Tampa Bay at pick 26 is going to get Chop Robinson. Tampa Bay has lost a couple pieces to their defense. Chop Robinson is still on the board at 26. He's a good edge rusher. Now, he didn't maybe have the stats that you would want. He definitely has the measurables. He's sort of like a Laiatu Latu. He has the measurables, has the pure raw athleticism to be great. Maybe you just don't know. But hey, Chop Robinson, he could be a stud with a team that lost Shaq Barrett. That's the dude. And yeah, they've just had some issues overall on defense. Good to get another guy in there. Then you have Arizona. They're going to be taking Cooper DeJean. They need a defensive back. They always need a defensive back ever since Pat Pete left. They need a lot of pieces. They're just going to pick the best player available on the board. And right now, that is Cooper DeJean. A little bit different than most corners. But yeah, he's going to fit in just fine. He was a good corner at Iowa. Also a good returner at Iowa. Then you have Buffalo at pick 28. They're going to want to get a receiver for Josh Allen, and they're going to get that in Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. He's a stud. He's fast-ish. Not Xavier Worthy fast, but fast. He was at Georgia, helped them win 2 national championships, came over to Texas and played great. He's going to be a good fit for Buffalo, who need more of a big play threat with Gabe Davis gone. They got Curtis Samuel, but they're going to want another receiver. And you have Detroit at pick 29. Actually, also having them go receiver and having a guy that's just been rising up draft boards. That's Ladd McConkey. Talk about a dude who plays the game the right way, has a high motor, he's sneaky athletic. Somebody that fits a guy like Dan Campbell with grit, grind, biting kneecaps perfectly. Ladd McConkey's going to fit in just fine. They lost Josh Reynolds. They might just want another receiver anyways. You do have Jameson Williams to take the top off of defense, and you obviously have Amon St. Brown. But it's good to get a third guy in a team that doesn't really have a ton of holes. Then Baltimore at pick 30, they're going to get an offensive lineman in Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He seems fine. He's got that weird helmet. He wears number 60, which is sort of weird. But yeah, Tyler Guyton, he's cool. Baltimore, they just need more offensive linemen. They probably need a right tackle soon. Ronnie Stanley's getting up there, and it's just a little bit unreliable in general. They lost They were the team that lost Morgan Moses. Yeah, Morgan Moses was on the Ravens. Then you move on to San Francisco at pick 31. They're going to pick Graham Barton out of Duke. I don't know a ton about this dude, but I know that the Niners need an offensive lineman in general. That was the main weakness of that team last year, especially when you looked at the way that Spagnuolo was blitzing them in the Super Bowl. That offensive line couldn't keep up. Graham Barton, he's going to be fine. He's going to be the Trent Williams replacement because he's 35, 36. Yeah, he's going to be good. And then you have the Chiefs at 32, and they're going to pull it off again. Maybe not again, but they're going to pull off another great draft pick. They're going to get Xavier Worthy. I mean, if anybody fits the Chiefs, it's a guy that Patrick Mahomes can throw deep to. Because not a lot of people realize this, but ever since Tyreek Hill left, defenses still play really deep on the Chiefs like they have a Tyreek Hill. And Mahomes, he's like the lowest in the league in ADOTS, which is a fantasy metric, but, you know, he throws the ball real short. When you get two field stretchers and Marquise Brown and now Xavier Worthy, that's going to be lethal in Kansas City. With that being said, that is going to be it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.